Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. And for today's video, I'm going to be finally sharing my thoughts on the new foundation from Nars, the Light Reflecting Foundation. It has been much loved, much hyped, but am I going to get on with it as well as everybody else? So this new foundation from Nars, it launched about a month ago, I think, in the US, or certainly a few weeks ago in the US. It's taken its time to arrive here, but it is now available on Nars's website. So you can now pick it up in the UK. So Nars describes this foundation as an innovative blend of a makeup and skincare, which instantly blurs imperfections, smooths the look of textured skin, and helps conceal blemishes, dark spots, and redness. Visibly improves skin's clarity after 6 weeks of daily use, even after makeup is removed. Is powered by advanced skincare ingredients that help defend against environmental aggressors and blue light. It immediately strengthens the skin's barrier to help maintain its moisture and is suitable for most skin types, including sensitive skin. It has a medium buildable coverage with a natural finish, breathable all day wear, and is available in 36 shades. So I picked up the shade Vanuatu, which is actually a bit deeper than I usually choose in winter, and I'll explain why. So I am on Nars's PR list, but they haven't sent out the PR for this foundation yet. Apparently it's a bit late and it's not going to be here for a few weeks. Now Nars typically send me a few shades of my winter skin tone, as obviously we are in winter. So generally they'll send me maybe Punjab, Patagonia and Santa Fe, something like that, along those lines. That's kind of where I sit in winter. So I didn't want to buy a shade that I knew was going to arrive in a few weeks' time. So I chose a shade that was going to be a really good undertone for me, I thought, but it was going to be closer to my summer shade so that I have that to start using and I can kind of mix in with the shades they send me. So just bear in mind that if you are a shade twin of mine in winter, that Vanuatu is a little dark for me right now, but the undertones are spot on, I will say that. So I've had this foundation about a week now and I've tried it a good 3 or 4 times. I think today was the 4th time applying it for this video. I've tried it with different primers, I've tried it on different days, on different weathers, so I feel like I've got to know it pretty well at this point. So I have a lot of thoughts. So let's jump into the application. So I've already primed my skin with my Tatcha liquid silk canvas. I have tried this foundation with the Tom Ford primer as well, just to make sure I know what it's doing. So as you can see on there, it's a very thin, liquidy, runny consistency, which typically means that you will do better applying it with a brush and a sponge, because the sponge is going to soak up a lot of a thin, liquidy foundation. But that's kind of my preferred method anyway. I did only a couple of very small pumps on here, and I'm going to show you a very light, thin layer. So here is my skin before. As you can see, decent amounts of redness at the moment. This foundation, I find, with such a small amount, literally covers everything. It goes so far. And although, yes, it's a medium as opposed to, well, I guess it's like a medium to full, I think, coverage, it just instantly gets rid of all of my redness, like easy, in that tiny small amount. That was like the smallest amount, still a lot there. You can see this shade is definitely quite a bit darker than my face, but I can make it work at the moment with concealer and things, and I just did not want to have like 2 of the same shade and it be pointless. I'd rather picked up my summer shade and we can make it work for now. So with that really small amount, all of that redness and discoloration is completely evened out, and I've got a really good, more like fuller medium coverage, I would say. It's just a really strange phenomena, I find, of such a thin, runny consistency. Typically you get, you know, quite a light coverage out of a foundation that's that thin and that runny, but I just find that this just gives me such a great coverage with such a small amount. Like a little really does go a long way with this foundation. And it's very quick and easy. It melts into the skin beautifully and instantly with like no work. So I have used pretty much everything on there because I just didn't want to waste any, but I really didn't even need to. Everything is covered, everything is evened out, all my redness is gone with a very small amount, with a very thin layer. I feel super happy with the coverage. Now initially it does have quite a lot of glow, but I do find that that kind of tones down as it sets down and as everything kind of melts into the skin and I finish off my makeup. I feel like by the time I finish my makeup, it's a more sort of satin luminosity as opposed to like a dewy finish on me, but super smooth, fresh looking, very healthy. I feel like at this point it kind of starts to remind me of like the Eldridge foundation because it's not as glowy and luminous as a lot of the foundations that I love, like the Tom Ford. It's definitely not as glowy as that, or the Charlotte Tilbury. It's a little less glowy than maybe the Chanel, the number one, the new foundation from Chanel, but it just kind of stays like fresh and healthy, luminous skin. So let me finish the rest of my makeup and we'll be back. Okay, so I finished off the rest of my makeup. I used my Charlotte Tilbury palette, the Nudegasm face palette to do bronzer, blush, highlight, and my usual McGrath Concealer and powder. And then I used one of the new YSL lipsticks that I reviewed on Monday in the shade 4, along with my Eldridge Fair lip liner, which is like the perfect combo, FYI, side note. So I was super quick today. Probably the foundation has been on like 10-15 minutes while I was just kind of finishing off my cheek products, but it just looks so beautiful. I definitely think on me it's like a satin, a luminous satin finish. It reminds me a little bit of the Eldridge, but I do think this one has a slightly more luminosity to it. Super smooth, super flattering. Let's have a full-on close-up for you. This area I think just looks great. It's not soaking into smile lines. It's not exaggerating like the texture on my top lip or my chin or around like my mouth, the muzzle zone that we like to call it here. And my forehead also looks great. I haven't set the foundation, I just set my concealer, but it does look set. It looks perfected. It looks finished. It's very smooth. I find it so easy to apply products on top of. Like it feels set as you're sort of buffing your bronzer and everything into it. It doesn't feel unset. It doesn't feel tacky or sticky once it's all dried down. It just looks super flawless and beautiful. And I love how it somehow like completely covers everything and gives me this really flawless look, but with a really small amount, and it still manages to look nice and natural, not too like crazy, not heavy or cakey, just like perfected and gorgeous. So as you guys know, I'm filming in natural daylight. We're not yet in the months where I'm going to be able to do a really long wear test and do a check-in with you guys because it's just too dark. By the time I come back here at 6 o'clock, you won't be able to see me. But luckily I have been trying and wearing this foundation for a while now. So I do have some thoughts on the wear and experience of how this wears on me. And ultimately it wears very well. What I find is that about the 8-hour mark, there's a slight bit of shine around my nose, like that typical place where foundations start to, you know, shine a bit around the nose area. That's pretty much it. It gets slightly shinier on my forehead, but like I'd say at the 10-hour mark. I actually wore this foundation the other day. Didn't bother to take my makeup off until I went to bed, which was like 10 p.m. It'd been on for probably 14 hours when I sort of looked in the mirror as I was about to take it off, and I was impressed. There was no sort of patchiness, no separation. It had slightly just about begun to fade on my chin. You could just about see the edge of the coverage was wearing off on my chin, and it was shiny on my forehead. It wears very well, no doubt about that. I've put it through some tough days when I take the kids swimming and have to sit in a hot swimming pool, wearing mask, out and about, long family days, and it really raises no issues for me whatsoever on the wear. It also is one that does not have SPF in it, so it photographs very nicely, both with and without flash, which is fantastic. And I really cannot smell any kind of scent or fragrance or anything like that in there either. I did put the ingredients at the beginning of the video if you want to pause and kind of read through and check if there's anything anything you're sensitive to. But as far as what I can smell, I can't smell anything. Like there's maybe the faintest whiff if I sniff it of something, but I couldn't even tell you what it is. Very, very minimal smell whatsoever, either pleasant or otherwise. So far with this foundation, I absolutely love it. I think it's gorgeous. It's very flattering. It's very friendly to like textured areas, lines, and just uneven skin. Like I said in the application, it covers so quickly and easily, completely gets rid of all of my redness with the smallest amount so quickly. The one thing I'm slightly iffy about as far as the claims is the coverage. It claims to be a medium buildable. I feel like I get to like a full coverage with a small amount right off the bat pretty much. It's definitely the higher end of medium. I guess if you could mix it with moisturizer or something like that to get a sheerer coverage, but it is going to give you at least like a high end of medium, like straight off the bat, in my opinion. If you're using a brush, I guess maybe you could use a sponge and you'd get a lighter coverage, and that would give you a more sort of traditional medium, but it looks very natural on the skin. It's very, very flattering, does not soak into smile lines, doesn't exaggerate texture. It's just a beautiful foundation. Finish wise, in fact, kind of everything wise, it kind of reminds me of the Lisa Eldridge. I think it's got a bit more coverage and it's probably a hair glowier than the Lisa Eldridge. It's just absolutely beautiful. I'm certainly going to keep using and trying this one out. And yeah, so far, so very good. Nars can certainly do a foundation and do it phenomenally well. So unfortunately, this one didn't arrive in time to be featured in my foundation roundup ranking video. It did come out a little later here. So therefore I didn't get to use it along with those other newer foundations and do some comparisons in that video of this one. But I will of course keep using this, keep wearing it back to back with those other newer foundations and also my favorite foundations. And I'll keep you posted on how it's stacking up in a future video. But so far I am really enjoying it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Chef's kiss. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.